الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him and we seek His assistance and we seek His forgiveness and we seek assistance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our own souls and our evil actions. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one can misguide, and whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leads astray, no one can guide. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. And I bear witness and I testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except for Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His prophet and messenger. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. أما بعد أوصي نفسي وإياكم بتقوى الله تعالى. My dear brothers and sisters, I remind myself and all of you to have taqwa of Allah, to fear Allah, to be cognizant of Allah, to be aware of Allah, to have Allah on your mind, to put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always first. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran after أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who have believed, fear Allah as He is meant to be feared, and do not die except in a state of submission to Him, and do not die except in a state of Islam. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. O you who have believed, fear Allah and let each person see what he has put forth for tomorrow. Let each person see what he has prepared for the day of judgment, and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is all knowing of what you do. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. O you who have believed, fear Allah and say what is upright. He will guide you to righteous actions and forgive you of your shortcomings, and whomsoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, for indeed he has achieved a great triumph. And whomsoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, for indeed he was successful. You see, Allah, He says, fear Allah and say what is upright, and He will guide you to righteous actions. Yani you receiving guidance from Allah is due to you speaking what is true, speaking what is upright and saying the truth. Then Allah guides you to righteous actions. Yani for you being truthful, Allah guides you to righteous actions. For you being upright, Allah, He guides you. When you're upright and truthful, Allah, He guides you to do good, and He forgives you of your shortcomings. And whomsoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, being upright, obedience to Allah and His Messenger, for indeed he has achieved a great triumph. For indeed he was successful. Success is from obedience to Allah and His Messenger and doing good and staying away from haram. This is true success. We are currently in the first month of the Islamic calendar. We entered a new month. It's called the month of Muharram. We are currently in the first month of the Islamic calendar, and the Islamic calendar is based upon the moon. It's a lunar calendar. And the Islamic calendar is based upon the Hijrah. It's based upon the Hijrah. We say, what does that mean? We say that it's based upon the migration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Medina. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he migrated from Mecca to Medina with his companion and his best friend Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and the rest of the companions also migrated that year. This is called the migration from the abode of Kufr of Mecca to the abode of Iman in Medina. Medina is also known as Dar al-Hijrah, the abode of migration, because the Prophet migrated there. So the Islamic New Year is a remembrance of the Hijrah as well, this Hijrah that took place. And we say that it's after the Hijrah, AH. So we're in 1445, AH, after the Hijrah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We say, now why does this Islamic calendar start with Muharram? That's the next question. Why does the Islamic calendar start with the month of Muharram? Sayyidina Umar ibn Khateeb radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the second Khalifa of the Muslims, when he was deciding where the Islamic calendar should begin, what the first month of the year should be, he chose Muharram for a number of reasons. For a number of reasons, he chose Muharram to be the first of the 12 months of the year, to start the year with Muharram. What are the reasons for it? The first reason is that Muharram is one of the 4 sacred months. Allah, He says in the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم. Allah, He says that indeed the number of months in the book of your Lord are 12 months. From the 12 months, the day that Allah created the heavens and the earth, and from the 12 months there are 4 sacred months. So Muharram is from the 4 sacred months. A sacred month means that starting off warfare is not allowed. You're not allowed to start a war. You could defend yourself, but you can't initiate a war. And it means that good deeds are magnified and bad deeds are magnified. We say that the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca is called the Masjid al-Haram. The Kaaba is called the Masjid al-Haram, the sanct mosque. All mosques are sanct. All mosques are holy. Someone's not going to come to the mosque and do a haram act in a mosque because it's a holy place. Someone's not going to come smoke weed in a masjid or look at something haram in a masjid. He'll go do that in the seclusion of his own home or in a bar or somewhere that is filthy, not in the mosque. So the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca is the most holy mosque. It's the first house of worship established on the face of the earth. And we have holy timings, holy months. Muharram is a holy month. So the Umar ibn Khattab, for that reason, and for another reason, he said that it's going to be the first month of the year. What's the other reason? He says that Muharram comes after Dhul Hijjah. We have 3 sacred months in a row. We have Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram. Then we have Rajab that comes before Sha'ban. Rajab comes later on. After Jamad al-Thani comes Rajab. It comes on later. But we have 3 sacred months in a row. Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram. So Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he said that after Hajj, which is in Dhul Hijjah, the Muslim returns home as if it was the day his mother gave birth to him. So he has a new clean slate. His slate is cleaned. He starts off new. So we start off in Muharram new. So Muharram is the first month of the Islamic calendar for that reason. Now we see that the word Muharram itself, the word Muharram means that which is haram. Muharram, the word of the month, is that which is sanct and haram. And Allah, He attributes Himself to this month, Shahrullah al-Muharram, the month of Allah, Muharram. It's the only month of the year that Allah is attributed to, the month of Allah, Muharram. And the Prophet ﷺ said the greatest fast after Ramadan, after the obligatory fast, is the month of Muharram, the fast of Muharram. Yani to fast in this month, it's virtuous. To fast in this month is virtuous. Now we also have other things that happen, significant events that happen in the month of Muharram. We have significant events, historical events that happened in the month of Muharram as well, to make the month of Muharram more special. And we say, and more specifically, they happened on the 10th of Muharram, which is called in Arabic Ashura. Ashura. We say Ashura is Ashura, the 10th. It means the 10th. So we say in the month of Muharram we have significant and historical events, and more specifically on the 10th of Muharram. We say, when is the 10th of Muharram? We say it's today. We say it's today, this Friday is the 10th of Muharram. We say, what significant events do you refer to? What are you talking about? We say that the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the tawbah of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam was on the 10th of Muharram. Adam alayhi salam, he repented to Allah and Allah accepted his tawbah immediately. One was that, we say on the 10th of Muharram. We say Nuh alayhi salam was saved from the flood, the tufan. He was saved in his ark from the flood. After 6 months of being on the water, in the ocean, in the sea, in the rain, his ark landed on a mountain called Al-Judi. وَاسْتَوَتْ عَلَى الْجُودِ. Allah, He says in Surah Hud, and the ark of Noah landed on Al-Judi. We say, where is Al-Judi? We say it's in Turkey. Some people say it's in Turkey. Some people say it's in India. It's different upon. The Quran doesn't come with specific details. The Quran comes with a general outline or a general story for you to derive lessons. Allah is trying to tell you, don't worry about specific details. Don't worry about specific dates or locations. Just worry about the lesson of the story. The lesson of the story is what is important. Nuh alayhi salam's ark lands on this mountain called Al-Judi. When is that? They say it's on the 10th of Muharram. They say it's on the 10th of Muharram. They say Ayyub alayhi salam was healed from his sickness. And Allah answered his dua on the 10th of Muharram. We say, what was the dua of Ayyub alayhi salam? We say Ayyub alayhi salam has one of the most beautiful du'ats in the world. And we learn dua, and we learn the etiquette of dua from the prophets and messengers before us. And it's a beautiful thing. Ayyub, he calls out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he makes dua. He goes, Inni massani ad-durru wa anta arhamar rahimin. Inni massani ad-durru wa anta arhamar rahimin. Ayyub alayhi salam, he calls out to Allah and he says, oh Allah, I have been afflicted, I have been touched, I have been grazed by calamity, by distress. And you are the most merciful. Ayyub alayhi salam, he calls out to Allah, he says, I have been grazed, I have been just barely touched by difficulty, and you are the most merciful. Ayyub alayhi salam, he doesn't ask for money back. He doesn't ask for his children back. He doesn't ask for his health back. He doesn't ask for anything. He just says, I have been afflicted, I've been touched a bit, I've been grazed by difficulty. And oh Allah, you are the most merciful. وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَهْلَهُ وَمِثْلَهُمْ مَعَهُمْ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَذِكْرَى لِلْعَابِدِينَ. Allah, he says, and we have answered his call. We have answered Ayyub's call. فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ. Immediately we answered. And we have given him his family and the likes of his family back. We have given him the amount that he had doubled, and his health doubled. Yeah? Rahmatan min indina. Allah, he says, a mercy from us. Wa dhikra lil abidin, and a remembrance for a person who worships Allah. And a remembrance for a person who worships Allah. We learned from this that when you make dua to Allah, you make dua with sincerity. You don't have to mention specifics. You don't have to say, Allah, give me money or health, nothing. You have something called idlal. You put yourself down to Allah. You say, Allah, I have been hurt or afflicted, and you are the greatest, and you are the strongest, and you are the most merciful. And what happens? Allah, immediate response. So we say, Ayyub alayhi salam was given his children back, and dua was answered on the 10th of Muharram. And we see that Musa alayhi salam, the famous story of Musa alayhi salam, happened also on the 10th of Muharram. We say, what is that? We say the Prophet ﷺ, when he migrated to Medina, he saw that the Jews of Medina were fasting on the 10th of Muharram. They were fasting. They were observing the 10th with a fast. So he said, what is it that makes you fast? They said that this is the day that Allah saved Musa from the Pharaoh and destroyed the Pharaoh and his people. This is the day that Allah saved Musa from the Pharaoh. So the Prophet ﷺ, he responded, نَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِمُوسَى مِنْهُمْ. So he told his companions, we have more of a right over Musa than them. We are the true followers of Musa. As a Muslim, we are the true followers of Musa alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam. We are the true followers of Jesus and Moses. So he says, we have more of a right over Moses than them. So he commanded his companions to fast. And he said, if I were to live to the next year, I will also fast on the 9th. The Prophet ﷺ said, if I was to live to the next year, I will fast on the 9th as well. So the 9th and the 10th. Why is that? To differentiate ourselves from the Jews. To make a differentiation. So then they say that you could fast on the 9th and the 10th, which would have been yesterday and today, or you could fast on the 10th and the 11th. The main point is to distinguish. And that's more virtuous to do, and it's more rewarding. Of course, common logic, because you're fasting an extra day, and because you're making yourself distinguished from the Jews and their worship. However, if someone was to only fast today, which is Friday and the 10th of Muharram, if he was only to fast today, with the intention of fasting on the 10th of Muharram because it's the day that Allah saved Musa from the Pharaoh, you'll get reward, and there's no problem with it. However, it's better to differentiate. It's better to make it the 9th and the 10th, or the 10th and the 11th. Now on top of that, I want to say something else. If someone does not fast today, if someone doesn't fast at all, what happens? Nothing happens, brother. It's a sunnah. It's not an obligation. We relax and we calm down, and we don't be judgmental to people. If you are fasting, that is great. May Allah bless you and keep you steadfast. And sometimes people are going through things in life, and it's not easy up here. Mental health is real, wallahi. Ups and downs in life is real. People have high iman and low iman sometimes. Sometimes someone is in a good state. He's in a good state. He hears anything and he wants to jump on it and do it because his state is good. He's right. He hears about fasting, he gets excited and he fasts. And sometimes someone is going through a difficult timing, and it's hard for him to even pray salah. It's hard for him to even pray salah. He's going through difficulty and anxiety or whatever he's going through. You know, we ask Allah to relieve that person of any pain they're going through, and anyone who's going through any difficulty, we ask Allah to relieve them of that. Iman and faith, salah and Quran, and fasting, and all these things, they grant us healing and coping mechanisms and ways to navigate and ways to cope. Believe it or not, praying salah helps. No matter how difficult you may feel, praying salah, it helps. It will help your situation. It will not make you worse. If you're really going through something difficult and you pray salah, it will make your situation better. Because salah is the greatest therapy. Because salah is remembrance of Allah. It's dhikr. And dhikr is all therapy. Dhikr is therapy. Dhikr is a healer. Salah is the greatest form of dhikr. Salah is the greatest form of dhikr. So no matter how hard it is, no matter what you're going through, you should push yourself to always pray salah. You never leave off your salah ever. Yeah, because it will help you. Yeah, but like we said, people, they go through ups and downs. So if someone's not fasting today, we're not judgmental, you know. It's a sunnah day. Someone's drinking water, let him drink 10 waters, you know, no problem. No, it's a sunnah day. If you're fasting, that's good for you. May Allah keep you steadfast. Well, that's great. Wallahi, ajr, fasting is great. Yeah, fasting on a sunnah day is great. But don't let this make you arrogant or judgmental to others. When you're doing good, it should make you more humble. You should be uplifting to others. Bashiru wa la tanaffiru. You know, be good and be happy and give glad tidings and good news, and don't give bad news. Don't give bad news. Don't be mean. Don't be mean. And teach with actions. It's nicer than teaching with words. Of course, we could tell our family to do good things. Like you could command your son to fast. That's a good thing. These are all good things, but we say that if someone else is not doing something that you're doing, that's a sunnah. Relax and keep it easy and be nice and uplifting to people, not demoralizing to people. Because that person that went and committed suicide, he writes in his letter that if one person smiled to my face and gave me salam or said hi to me, I would have not committed suicide. So when you go out in public, as a Muslim first of all, and as a human being in society, be uplifting to people. Like see someone and smile. It doesn't cost no money to smile in someone's face. It's free. Even if you're going through tough here and tough here, even you're going through tough here and here, you smile at someone and it eases your difficulty. When you're good to someone, it eases your psychology. It's crazy. Like even if you're going through difficulty and you're constricted, and your mental health isn't doing so good, but you're nice to someone, it helps you. It helps you as well. Because when you're good to someone, it uplifts you. The Prophet ﷺ, he commanded, this one man, he came and he complained to the Prophet of distress. He said, Imsah ala ra'sil yatim. He said, go find an orphan and wipe his head. Oh Allah, he's crazy. He says, go find an orphan and wipe his head. And if you find someone that needs something to be eaten, is hungry, feed him. Yani you are complaining of your distress. The Prophet says, go wipe the head of an orphan. The hadith is in Sunan al-Tirmidhi. Why is that? Because psychologically, when you're good to someone, and when you're uplifting to someone, Allah is going to be good to you and uplift you. It's going to help you. You will never find someone being good to someone and he's let down. You never see someone that's uplifting and nice and he's let down. The bully, the person who's mean and ridiculing, and he ridicules everyone and he's mean to everyone and he humiliates everyone, he's always miserable. I've never seen a bully that's happy in my life. They're always miserable. Even in the movies and in the shows, they're always mad. Why is he mad? Because he's miserable, because he's mean to everyone. But you see the guy that's always smiling and happy and hugging everyone, he's always happy. And it's not that he doesn't go through anything. No, he goes through stuff too, but his coping mechanism is happiness to others. And we learn from the Sunnah that if you're good to someone, like why is it the orphan? Because the orphan is the one that needs love the most. The low caste of society, they need love the most. You're good to the orphan. He doesn't say give them orphan money. He doesn't say go on IslamicRelief.com and sponsor an orphan. He doesn't say that. Because not everyone can sponsor an orphan. Not everyone has that financial capability of giving money. But everyone has the capability of being nice. He goes, wipe on the head of the orphan. Be good to people, you know, that's what we want to learn. Be good to people, uplifting to people. Islam is beautiful. You know, and then, so we learned that Musa alayhi salam, he was saved from the Pharaoh on this day, on the 10th of Muharram. What else happened? They say that Yusuf alayhi salam and his father Yaqub were reunited on this day. They say the day that Yaqub's eyesight came back to him and he was reunited with his son Yusuf was on this day. To show significance of the 10th of Muharram. And they say that Ibrahim alayhi salam was saved from the fire on this day. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Allah, he calls out to the fire that was meant to burn Ibrahim. They catapulted Ibrahim alayhi salam into this fire, this massive fire that was hot. And Allah, he calls out to the fire and he commands the fire to be cool and peaceful and gentle to Ibrahim. And the scholars of tafsir, they say if Allah only commanded the fire to be cool, it would have froze him. It would have been so cold. It would not have been gentle. So Allah, he says, Kuni bardan wa salaman. Oh fire, be gentle and calm and nice and cool to Ibrahim. And Ibrahim, he was saved on the 10th of Muharram. And lastly, they say that Yunus alayhi salam, Jonah, Yunus alayhi salam was saved from the belly of the whale on the 10th of Muharram. Yani Allah saved Yunus alayhi salam from the belly of the whale, from the darkness of the night, from the darkness of the thunderstorm, from the darkness of the belly, from the darkness of the depth of the ocean on the 10th of Muharram. We want to go back. What was the dua of Yunus alayhi salam? Because we talked about the dua of Ayub. Now what was the dua of Yunus? Also interesting. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين. Yunus alayhi salam, he's in the belly of the whale. No hope and dope. No hope. There's no hope. There's no hope. There's no hope. There's no cell phone signal in the belly of a whale. That's what happens when you're crushed and you have no one to turn to. It's the best thing for you sometimes. Like when you're crushed and you can't turn to any human. It's the best. Sometimes when your phone has no signal, it's the best thing for you because you only have Allah. You're like, I can't call anybody. Allah is there. That's when you turn to Allah with sincerity. When there's no cell phone signal, you turn to Allah with sincerity. No one else can hear you except Allah. He called out and he said, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. He said, Oh Allah, there's no God but you. Glory be to you, O Allah. I have oppressed my own self. I am from those who oppress themselves. That's all he said in the next ayah. فَاسْتَجَبَنَا لَهُ وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ. We have answered his call and we saved him from the darkness. And that's the way we save every believer. We all go through darkness. We're all in darkness, figurative darkness, mental health, anxiety, depression. We go through stuff. Everyone has a different test. Everyone is tested differently. Everyone has a different difficulty. What is the answer to the difficulty? You turn to Allah, you submit to Allah. You turn to Allah, you submit to Allah. And the Prophet said this dua is the dua for every mu'min. No one makes the dua of Yunus except his dua is answered. The Prophet, he said this in a hadith. This dua is the dua for every believer. No one makes the dua of Yunus except his dua is answered. Oh, La ilaha illa anta, we memorize it. Oh Allah, there's no God but you, subhanaka. Glory be to you, O Allah. Indeed, I was from those who oppressed myself. He doesn't say, Ya Allah, save me from the belly. Ya Allah, save me from the thunderstorm. Ya Allah, nothing, no. I am nothing, Allah, you are rich and I am poor. Allah, I am weak and you are strong. That's all he's saying. There's no God but you. Affirming tawheed, affirming oneness of Allah. The greatest attribute of Allah is the tawheed of Allah. And then saying that, I have oppressed myself. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسُهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. We have not oppressed them, they have oppressed their own selves. We are oppressors to our own selves. We oppress our own selves daily. Because we're human beings, we're not angels. The angels, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. The angels, they don't go against Allah's command and they do what they're commanded. Allah, He describes the angel in the Quran. They don't go against Allah's command and they do what they're commanded. The human being, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. The human being was created weak. We're weak. We sin. We sin all the time. We sin day and night. That's why we oppress our own selves. That's why you make this dua with sincerity. Allah, He answers. Allah, He revealed Yunus from the belly of the whale, from the depths of the ocean, from the depths of the night. On the 10th of Muharram, they say, and Allah repented on His people because they accepted and they believed in Yunus on that day. They accepted and believed in Yunus on that day. So alhamdulillah, we see that the 10th of Muharram is a significant day in the history of the universe, in the history of the world. With every prophet and messenger, there's a story. They mentioned Dawood and Sulaiman. They mentioned all of them on the 10th of Muharram, on the 10th of Muharram. Ashura. What else happened on this day? That's another question mark. What else happened on the 10th of Muharram that we want us to talk about on the minbar of the Prophet ﷺ? We say another significant event, a very sad event, a very tragic event happened. A very tragic and sad event happened. And we say that just because we're a Sunni, and just because someone else is Shi'i, and just because someone else is extravagant in his mourning, and just because someone else takes something over the top, it doesn't mean we don't talk about it. Just because someone else is, maybe we could see them as wrong in what they do, doesn't mean that makes the whole scenario wrong. Not knowing about what happened in history is ignorance. We want to know about history, and we want to be on the right side of history. We want to be resurrected with the Prophet and his family in Jannah. We want Jannah and the Prophet and his family, they're in Jannah. We want to be with the Prophet and his family. We want to be on the right side of history. The Muslim is someone who upholds justice. That's what Sayyidina Hussein was doing on that day when he was massacred in Karbala with his family. They say it was about 75 to, they say about 80 to 130. Historians differ on the exact number that were there with Hussein alayhi salam and his family. We say alayhi salam because he's from the family's prophet. We say Ali alayhi salam, it's fine, there's no problem. Bukhari and Muslim, when you read the hadith books, they say alayhi salam. You say alayhi salam when you talk about the Prophet's family, upon them be peace. We say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad in salah. We say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We say, oh Allah, pray upon Muhammad and give your blessings and salutations on Muhammad and his family. Yeah, we say alayhi salam, Hussein alayhi salam. The Prophet, he says, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn. Ahabba Allahu man ahabba al-Husayn. Husaynun sibtun min al-asbat. The Prophet, he said that Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. Allah loves the one who loves Hussein. Husaynun sibtun min al-asbat. Hussein is from the grandsons. Hussein is a grandson from the grandsons. Yeah, loving Sayyidina Hussein and loving Sayyidina Ali is from Iman. Loving the Prophet's family is from Iman. Hussein is the son of Fatima Zahra. Hussein is the son of Fatima Zahra and Ali ibn Abi Talib, both family of the Prophet. They're both from the Prophet's family. The Prophet never had a son. The Prophet ﷺ, he never had a son. And when his son Ibrahim passed away, because he had two sons that passed away at birth, childbirth or young age, Al-Qasim and Ibrahim. So when Ibrahim passed away, Abu Jahl said, قَدْ بَتَرَ Muhammad. Indeed, Muhammad has been cut off because his lineage is cut off. He doesn't have a son. How else could your lineage, or your legacy remain if you don't have a son? In Arab society, your son was the means of legacy. Your child, your son, your boys was the means of your legacy continuing. So Abu Jahl was rude and he said, indeed, Muhammad has been cut off. His legacy is gone. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. Allah, He reveals the Quran to console the heart of the Prophet. He says, we have gifted you the Kawthar. So pray to Allah and then sacrifice. Inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. The one who talks bad about you, he's the one who's cut off. The one who's going to ridicule you, he's the cut off one. He's the one that's going to be cut off. Abtar means the one that has his tail cut off. It means to be cut off, to be forgotten. Abu Jahl now, we call him Abu Jahl, the father of ignorance, until Yawm al-Qiyamah, Abu Jahl, Abu Jahl, Abu Jahl. And we call Muhammad, we say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Every second of every time, of every minute, of every hour of the day, we say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad in the adhan. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad in salah. Muslims all over the world. Who's the one that has been cut off now? Who's the one that has been cut off now? Yeah, so we have to understand the importance of the Prophet's family in our heart. The importance of the Prophet's family in our heart. Yeah, so what happened on this 10th of Muharram, Hussein ibn Ali alayhima as-salam, he went and he was refusing to give allegiance to a tyrannical ruler of his time called Yazid. Yazid was a tyrannical ruler. So a tyrannical ruler, when he's not in the place he's supposed to be in, he becomes a dictator. So he forces people to give allegiance. He goes, go get allegiance from him. Because if he forces the allegiance, then people accept him as his rule is accepted. The dictator becomes accepted if the big person accepts it. So Hussein said, I don't give allegiance to someone like you. Yeah, not to get into too much detail, Yazid was a horrible individual. He was evil. So he said, I don't give allegiance to someone like you. So he went to the city of Kufa because he had a lot of people that were going to be on his side in Kufa. They called Hussein to Kufa. On his way to Kufa, there's a place called Karbala. On his way to Kufa, he was in Mecca because he was originally from Medina. He was originally in Medina, he ran to Mecca, he was doing some seclusion in Mecca, and then he went and he answered the call of the people of Kufa who said, come, we're going to aid you, and we're going to give you allegiance, and you're the rightful leader. So on his way to Kufa, he's met by someone called Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. He's met by one of the leaders of the Umayyad army, one of the leaders of the people in charge. His name is Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. He tells Hussein, you can't continue from here. So Hussein set up camp over there by the Euphrates. By the Euphrates, he set up camp in this place called Karbala on the 2nd or 3rd of Muharram. And then, then the army came of Umar ibn Sa'ad and Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad and Shimr ibn Daljawsh and all these people, these leaders. They had an army of 30,000 people. They were sent to force allegiance from Hussein. They want allegiance from Hussein. And Hussein said, I don't give allegiance to you people. And all of these people are evil. And they're all in the depths of Jahannam, inshallah. We ask Allah to curse these people because they came and they slaughtered the grandson of the Prophet. And anyone who had anything to do with the slaughtering of the grandson of the Prophet and his family that day is a cursed person. Allah, He curses the oppressors in the Quran. That's an oppressive person. How could someone be so low? And how can someone derail so much from the truth? How can someone's heart be so hardened that you slaughter the Prophet's family and you take the granddaughters and the daughters of the Prophet as slave women? How could you reach that level? What is it? We call it hubb ad-dunya. We call it love of this world. We call it tama', wanting more of dunya. Because every single one of the commanders of that army that had 30,000 people in it, they were all supposedly Muslim, of course. It's the Muslim empire. It's the Bani Umayyah. They all were promised certain positions. Umar ibn Sa'ad was promised a Rai, the position of Rai. Rai is current day what? Tehran. If you look at Tehran in Iran, the capital of Iran, and Khorasan, you see that Rai is that province. He was promised Rai. So due to his love of this world and wanting leadership and wanting money and wanting women, he goes and he's driven crazy that he'll slaughter the Prophet's grandson. It's insane. And his name is Umar ibn Sa'ad. Who was Umar ibn Sa'ad, the leader of this army? He's the son of Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, the son of a great companion that one of the 10 companions promised paradise. How could it go from there to there? How could this happen? We say love of dunya is scary. We ask God to keep us steadfast and to put us on the right side of history and to make us of those who uphold justice. Because Islam comes to uphold justice at every single avenue. And in the Quran, there's a beautiful ayah that the school of Harvard Law, the Harvard Law School, they put this ayah up at the front of the library about 2-3 years ago. And the article came out. They say it's the greatest verse upholding justice. It's in the Quran. And what is it? The ayah is, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَامِينَ لِلْقِسْطِ كُونُوا قَوَامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ شُهَدَاءِ لِلَّهِ وَلَوْ عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ الْوَالِدَيْنِ أو الأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما ولا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. This beautiful ayah is the 134th verse of Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa, the 134th verse says, Allah says, "Oh, you have believed, be upholders of justice, yeah, and witnesses of Allah upon the earth, upholders of justice, even if it was against your own self or your parents or your kin." If that person was poor or rich, Allah has more of a right to that person. So rich, millionaire, poor person, Allah has more of a right over poorness and richness, right? And don't follow your desires lest you fall and give a false testimony. Don't follow your desires, yeah? And if you go against the truth and justice, indeed Allah is all knowing of what you do. And indeed Allah is all aware of what you do. Yani Allah is all aware. Uphold justice always. We are upholders of justice always. We want to be people that stand up for the truth and justice. So what happened, bottom line is, this Sayyidina Hussein alayhi salam was massacred on that day by these people that were dying for leadership and dying for money. And it's a very sad, tragic event. And it's crazy because if you think about it, on that day, the 10th of Muharram, because Sayyidina Hussein, he tried multiple times to negotiate with the opposition. Umar ibn Sa'ad and Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad and Shimr al-Jawsh and Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, these leaders. He had mufawadat, he tried to come to an agreement, saying, let me go back at least. They said, no, you're not going to go back. We're going to kill you. Because they all want the leadership. They all want Yazid to know that they killed him. They all want Yazid to know they started the war because they're the strong guy that deserves what they're going to get. And Hussein, he told them, you're not going to get anything that you're promised. This guy's a tyrannical liar. You're not going to get nothing from him. And what happened? They all didn't get nothing. And they were all killed by someone called Al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. He got vengeance for the Prophet's family. He went and killed them all. What happened? They massacred Sayyidina Hussein. They ended up killing him. But I wanted to say that on the day of the 10th of Muharram, at Salat al-Fajr, Sayyidina Hussein in his camp, they pray Fajr, establishing Salah. And then the 30,000 other people on the other side, with their leaders, they pray Fajr as well. It's kind of crazy. When you think about this, it's insane. May Allah protect us. Yeah, may Allah protect us. You know, it's so scary. How could someone pray Salah and the Salah has no effect to his heart at all whatsoever? It's so scary. Because if any of those 30,000 people prayed Fajr that day and thought about what they were saying in Salah, they would not have done what they did. Because in salah, you say, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وآل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم. You pray upon the Prophet and his family, and you send blessings upon the Prophet and his family, and then you go and you slaughter the Prophet's family, and then you go and you slaughter the Prophet's family, and you cut his head off. They say that they 12 stab wounds to his head until they severed his head. A'udhu billah. Then the horse tramples on his head, and Hussein and his 4 brothers massacred, Hussein and his 4 sons massacred, and all the women taken as slave girls. A'udhu billah. How could someone be so far from the truth? We ask Allah to put us always on the right side of history, and let us love the Prophet and his family. Loving the Prophet and his family is salvation. Wallahi, we ask Allah to keep us steadfast and to guide anyone to salah who doesn't pray, and to guide our children to Islam and the love of the Quran and salah. Wa aqulu qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum fastaghfiruhu. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala ashraf al-mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. Usi nafsi wa iyakum bi taqwallahi ta'ala. My dear brothers and sisters, I remind myself and all of you to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says in a beautiful hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, لا تحاسدوا ولا تناجشوا ولا تباغضوا ولا تدابروا ولا يبيع بعضكم على بيع بعض وكونوا عباد الله إخوانا المسلم أخو المسلم لا يظلمه ولا يخذله ولا يكذبه ولا يحقره التقوى ها هنا التقوى ها هنا التقوى ها هنا ويشير إلى صدره 3 مرات بحسب امرئ من الشر أن يحقر أخاه المسلم كل المسلم على المسلم حرام دمه وعرضه وماله وعرضه. In this beautiful hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he says that don't have envy with one another, and do not raise the price on one another. Yeah, don't be ripping people off, and don't have hatred in your heart or malice toward one another, and don't be conniving toward one another, and don't sell upon your brother's sell, don't buy upon your brother's buy. You know, if someone is buying something in the marketplace, don't come and ruin it for him. Let him have it. Yeah, that's all conniving and evil. وَكُونُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ إِخْوَانًا, and be slaves of Allah, brothers. Yeah, الْمُسْلِمُ أَخْ الْمُسْلِم. The Muslim is the brother to the other Muslim. The Muslim is the brother to the Muslim. لَا يَظْلِمُهُ. Yeah, he does not oppress him. وَلَا يَخْذِلُهُ. He does not let him down. وَلَا يُكَذِّبُهُ. He doesn't call him a liar. He believes in what he says. وَلَا يَحْقِرُهُ. He does not put him down and belittle him. التقوى ها هنا. Taqwa is here. And the Prophet, he said it 3 times, taqwa is here. Taqwa is not in the size of your beard or the way your clothes are. Anyone could buy a cloak off of Amazon, and anyone could buy a hat off of Amazon, and anyone could go to sleep and wake up for a month and not touch his beard, and his beard goes long. We're not talking down about the sunnah. No, the sunnah is great. If someone has a beard for the sunnah, this is great. May Allah grant you reward. And if you do anything for the sake of the sunnah, this is great. But that's not taqwa. Taqwa is not in your appearance. Taqwa is not in your blackness or your whiteness. Taqwa is not in your height or your muscles. That's not taqwa. Taqwa is here in the heart. The Prophet says that taqwa ha huna, teaching us all. Taqwa is here. Inna akramakum inda Allahi atqakum. The greatest of you in the sight of Allah are the ones that have the most taqwa. Taqwa is in your heart. Taqwa is piety. Taqwa is being good. Sleeping at night without envy in your heart. Not giving envy to someone. Taqwa is here. Not how you look. Yeah, don't be judgmental. Yeah, and he says, بِحَسَبِ امْرِئٍ مِّنَ الشَّرِّ أَنْ يَحْقَرَ أَخَاهُ الْمُسْلِمِ. It's enough for someone. It's enough evil for someone to belittle his Muslim brother. He says, كُلُّ الْمُسْلِمِ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِ حَرَام. Everything from a Muslim upon the next Muslim is haram. His blood, and his money, and his dignity. Someone's honor, and someone's blood, and someone's money is haram for another Muslim. You can't just go and kill someone with no reason, and you can't go and steal from someone for no reason, and you can't go belittle or put someone down and hit someone's honor for no reason. The Muslim is sanct. The Muslim is sanct. The human being has a sanctity to them. So we're saying that the Muslim is sanct, and we should be good to Muslims. So what do you think of the Prophet ﷺ's family? In the month of Muharram, it's crazy, wallahi, because Yazid's army, Umar ibn Sa'ad, all these people that are cursed to the day of judgment, they went and they slaughtered the family of the Prophet in the month of Muharram, the month that's called the most sacred. A sacred month, yeah, and a sacred family. Yeah, we ask Allah to put us on the right side of history and to protect us, and to let us not shy away from speaking the truth, yeah, and to let us learn, and to let us not be ignorant. And just because someone does something with extravagance or someone is too much about something, it doesn't mean we don't learn about the truth of something, you know? We ask Allah to resurrect us with the family of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Allah to resurrect us with the Prophet and his family in Jannah. We ask Allah to put us on the right side of history. We ask Allah to guide us to salah and to keep us steadfast. We ask Allah for istiqamah. We ask Allah to keep us steadfast always. We ask Allah to guide our children to the love of salah and Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide any of our family members that are not Muslim to Islam. We ask Allah on this blessed day of Jum'ah to guide all of humanity to Islam. We ask Allah to keep us steadfast. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. إن الله تعالى يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واستغفروه يغفر لكم وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. استووا. الله أكبر.